And I'm back. What is up, everybody? And happy holidays. Welcome to...
On three. 1, 2, 3. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Jim and I were just in an argument. We just did a podcast where a person said, keep on arguing. Jim and I, we were in a healthy discussion.
Yeah. I was just adamantly opposed to your paganistic well wishes to our viewers.
I was saying happy holidays because the holiday cartridge talks start the day after Christmas and then go to the new year. And so to me, that terminology bridges the gap and addresses both events.
I understand. I do. That's all I'll say. I understand.
But then you were saying, like, even after the 25th, you'll say Merry Christmas.
If I bump into somebody for, and I'm just sort of like, oh, hey, it's the 26th, Merry Christmas.
I get that. I'm sure I've done that before.
Yeah, I guess sure you have too. You're a very nice person.
I hope, or I would, if I got into a discussion with this person, like if it was like, oh, I actually want to stop and let's chat. Or potentially you're just kind of cornered into a conversation, Jim.
Yeah, that happens.
Then I'd be like, oh, I would be like, how was your Christmas? Or I hope you had a Merry Christmas.
Tis the season of cornered conversations.
Speaking of days of yore and how we used to be as a society and country, Mark printed off this outstanding Smith & Wesson advertisement for
the, what are we talking about today?
41 Remington Magnum. One of the finest cartridges ever made.
Hey.
Lead balloon.
Oh, I don't really know. I don't know much about this one. I hadn't heard about this before.
Okay, lead balloon-ish with a following.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to get there.
If you're a user, you know what 41 Rem Mag's about.
You know.
I was going to say, this is a if you know cartridge.
So I didn't know.
I like this advertisement because it reminds me of kind of who we used to be. And this reminds me of my grandfather, this James Dean looking character here, actually portraying kind of the bad guy.
Right.
Can't tell what he's carrying. I'm going to just say it's a Luger, just to inspire some negative connotation.
I don't know. I mean, he's got kind of a...
Retained from his prior service,
That's
Ryan.
Right. Yeah, something like that.
Darker features than you'd expect.
Can I read the whole ad because it's awesome?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to get there eventually, and like you said, well, just read it and then we'll talk about it.
Okay, I'm going to do it in the old American accent.
Like, all right, like that one or which one?
Not too, see, doll, not that. That's
not that
too,
one.
Yeah, this is like the old radio accent. When it's you or him, this new 41 Smith & Wesson can save your life. When it's your life or his, it's your job to stop him cold and put him out of action. No matter where you hit him, the special design of the new big bore Smith & Wesson 41 gives you 2.5 times the stopping power of the 38 Special, and its mild recoil assures good gun control and accurate shooting. There's a 41 Magnum cartridge too. It packs 3 3/4 times the stopping power of the 38 Special. Use it for highway or open country patrols. The two special-purpose 41 cartridges make this new revolver ideal for crowded city streets or open country. It gives you more life insurance, offers less danger to bystanders, and sharply reduces the odds for criminals. Write today for complete information on the new 41 Smith & Wesson revolvers. Smith & Wesson Incorporated, Department 15, Springfield, Massachusetts.
Gosh, it was a different time to be alive.
My God.
I mean,
no matter where you hit
By
him.
the way, fantastic work, Ryan. Like, I felt like I was listening to an old-time radio show there.
41 Smith & Wesson, or excuse me, 41 Remington Magnum. Jeez, what a faux pas. Here's one where they actually, the marketing hook is correct. It carries like a 38. It hits like a 44. It is a brilliant cartridge and is kind of the Goldilocks of wheelgun magnums. And because of those attributes, you get the frame size of a 38. You get the power of a 44. That's the perfect marriage.
Who wouldn't want that?
And you don't have to subjugate yourself to such intolerable recoil. And really quite pleasant. Perfect hunting cartridge, I think. You know, not that a 44 is too much and not that a 38/357 is too little, but it really does fill the niche nicely. 180 to 220 grain bullet pallet, reasonable velocities for all aforementioned bullet weights. It's just classy. It's just right.
When you say hunting round, I'm seeing all pictures of
Defense
handgun
pistols.
revolvers.
Yeah. So what was the revolver round? They made them in lever guns, very limited quantities.
Right. Okay.
Our good friends at Henry, though, answer the call. You can get one in 41 mag.
You mean like now?
Yeah, as it should be. So we learned a couple things about wheel guns and terminal performance and police shootouts, and as well as military service. And 38 Special might have been a little lacking. 41 was one of the answers to that problem. And we could maintain the same size service revolver. We could definitely bring more power to the table and warranted, right? And without having to go to the super large frame, which is a lot of iron on the old gun belt. And then a lot of recoil to contend with, and possibly one less cartridge in the cylinder. And back when you had maybe 5 or 6, that made a big difference. Remember what Dirty Harold said? Did I fire 5? Or did I fire 6? Something like that. Yeah. This is a cool round.
My naivety is showing here. We're talking about the 38 versus this a lot. The 357 Magnum is not in the conversation?
This time, no. This predates the Magnum.
Well, no. Hold on a sec. Or at least maybe this is just writing about it right now. Yeah, because it was compared to the 38 or the 44.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Now, in this, what it's saying here, superior to even... No, this is...
No, okay, so maybe the 357 was out.
I think it is. And this guy's saying superior even to the 357 Magnum.
Huge okay, right.
But, like superior to the 357, the 38, not as much recoil as the 44, but approaching 44 performance. And when I was looking at some of the numbers, and you touched on this just a second ago, I was actually kind of shocked at how closely the 41 mag approaches the 44. I mean, you're losing some bullet weight, I think. You're losing some frontal diameter. It's faster, it's flatter. So like if you're interested in that for like a hunting application, it's certainly for a hunting application, I think I would pick the 41 over the 44.
Yes.
Really?
Mm-hmm. You get into maybe like big bear defense, maybe I'm going with the 44. But then again, we did that episode of Cartridge Talks where I would say you and I leaned towards the 9 over the 10. People might think we're crazy because of the shootability component. So that comes into play there, recoil, shootability. I do think, like you said, the 41 is, in a wheel gun, a very sweet spot for multiple applications.
It's so sweet that when the wheel gun became a dated piece of technology and the auto pistol really started to kick up, they thought, how do we make an auto cartridge that plays that tune?
Is that the 10 millimeter?
Bingo.
Mm.
Yeah.
How different is a 10 from this performance wise? That's one thing I haven't done.
Loadings of the time?
Right now.
Modern 10 falls in 2 categories: real 10 and other 10.
What is it with things in 10s?
What do you mean by that?
Categories. AR 10s, multiple categories.
Well,
10 millimeter,
so
multiple
like
categories.
The 10 millimeter auto's capacity as a cartridge is muted on the commercial side of things, except for companies like Buffalo Bore, Lehigh Defense, Underwood. They're loading that cartridge to its actual potential. Modern 10 is very, very close to 40. They're almost the same in a lot of off-shelf offerings. Because 10 Auto, when it came out, the FBI was all about it. They're like, cool, 10 Auto. It's the 41 Rem Mag in an auto pistol format. Agents couldn't shoot it.
Okay. Yeah.
It was too much gun. So they made 10 Light.
Which was?
Then 40.
Oh, then 40.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 41 Rem Mag in the heavy iron format of the wheel gun. Really quite fantastic. In fact, so fantastic, good friend of mine, big handgun hunter. He's a Freedom Arms guy. If I buy a Freedom, it's going to be in 41 mag, no doubt about it. He has a variant in what's called 414 Super Mag, which is the analog in the 41 chambering to 357 maximum, so a slightly longer case. And he and I were talking about 41 versus 414 this year at Pronghorn Camp, and he said, there are loadings that I can definitely tell you are far better in 414 Super Mag, depending on the bullet that I'm running. But for the most part, 41 solves all the problems and does it with more control, probably better accuracy and more consistency. I watched him tip a mule deer at like 171 yards with his 414 with effectively a 41 Rem Mag loading.
Interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
And absolutely punched that. He was shooting a Swift A-frame out of that one. And it was textbook, picturesque. That was a Ruger, actually. But
again, what I was reading, the 41 was like kind of like they were saying it was to the extent you could go and still fire it one-handed with
control. Yeah.
Kind of like this guy.
Well, he doesn't. I don't think he's got the 41.
No, but he's the style of shooting.
Yeah, he's undergunned in this situation.
He is. Why are we discussing
Look at
this?
He's a depraved lunatic.
He is.
Those adjectives were used.
Depraved
lunatic breaks into your house.
Yeah. He basically just looks like one of the guys from the Jersey Boys.
On the dope.
So what? Why did we call this kind of a quasi-lead balloon? I mean, is that just because it never really gained the popularity it deserved?
No, because 357 and 44 usurped it.
And did they do that? Because it sounds like, they already exist. Did they do that just because they were just the Titans and 41 never quite?
I blame Hollywood.
Oh, well. Yeah.
I do. Dirty Harry made the 44 Rem Mag the world's most powerful handgun.
Yeah.
And 357 was the one that you carried every day.
Yeah.
On that.
And sometimes that happens. It's sort of like these days with video games. The video games made the Scar 17 cool.
Yeah.
And it's not.
#agree.
That happens from time to time.
One thing that I do think is cool, and I think it's like that ad is a sign of the times. Elmer Keith, heavy hand and influence in getting firearms manufacturers to make the 41 Rem Mag. With its initial purpose, like that ad, it was law enforcement, and it was kind of like, are you doing law enforcement in like more of a urban environment, if you will? Are you more in the country? With kind of options for both, but I mean, like it in this article that I'm reading, which I should give it credit.
Revolverguy.com.
Yeah. Just talking about him meeting with those manufacturers at the annual NRA convention.
1963.
Getting a verbal agreement that we're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then here you go. I'm completely, summarizing here, but just really cool, like you got a guy that's, obviously, got experience, but, and influence, and people trust his opinion, and here we have it. 41 Rem Mag.
It's quite a hollow point on this bullet.
Oh, sure. Power shock.
That's a nose cone right there for a jet engine.
You could store something in there.
You could.
Here's what I say. I say you write some letters to the Marlin Firearms Company and you tell them, it would be really sweet? One of your really, really, really nice lever guns, chambered in 41 Rem Mag.
I thought you said that you could get it.
You can from Henry.
Oh, you were saying to
petition folks at Marlin.
At Marlin. Oh, yeah. Okay, got it.
Write some letters.
I'm going to read an excerpt from this article that kind of ties into what I was just saying. The first two guns made were blue 4-inch versions and were shipped directly to Elmer Keith, a good indication of whom S&W felt was primarily responsible for the new round. The guns arrived an hour before Keith was departing for a polar bear hunt in the Arctic, another sign of the times.
Yeah, no
so
doubt.
Cool.
He took the 57s with him, along with a partial box of the new Remington 210 grain soft points that S&W had sent. Keith shot 5 caribou with the Model 57s from ranges of 60 to 400 yards. A respectable maiden voyage.
No
the
doubt.
To
heavy load.
400 yards?
Elmer Keith was no joke. He had an
Holy.
outhouse that he would step out and he'd wing around at in the morning. It's like his morning coffee ritual.
What a stud.
The terminal
Hundreds of
performance
yards away.
impressed Keith, and he found that it shot flatter than his trusted 44 Magnum. Okay. I just know how tough it is to shoot a pistol at like 20 yards. 400 yards to me sounds like, with respect, sounds like some writer's liberties / embellishment.
Mark, it was a different time.
I'm looking something up. Keep talking.
It was a different time. I just love that he took a partial box and shot 5 caribou.
Yeah, these'll do.
I got a couple of these pocket bullets. So, there's one. Bang.
Again, like even that there, I highlighted
Okay, look,
that
if
before.
he's
I was
taking-
like, another sign of the times.
If he's taking writer's liberty and saying 60 to 400 yards, even on the short end, just smacking a caribou at 60 yards with a handgun. And we're probably talking, I mean, what do these Model 57s look like?
Oh gosh,
We're not talking
we
about
got a
necessarily,
lot
I'm
of
guessing,
different
one of these
variants
10-inch
here.
barrel with a pistol scope on top type deals.
First of all, if you're not familiar with the likeness of Elmer Keith,
Yeah, he did it.
Never mind, he did
it.
do that.
Yeah.
I had another excerpt, Jim, here that I highlighted specifically for you. So I'll see if I can find
For me, huh?
that one
That's
as
nice.
well. My printouts, they got a little unorganized. They're everywhere. Oh. Anyway, they were talking about a version that they made with the scan. It was essentially a lightweight.
Oh, yeah, nice.
But they said the terminal. God, I gotta find them. Essentially, because of physics, it was not that desirable to shoot. It was something like that.
I'd have liked it.
Now I'm looking for something. Ryan's looking for something.
Oh, fill the airwaves.
There's another ad in here.
Can I give it a shot?
Oh, I think it's the. Okay, no, this one's. It starts out the same, but it
Doesn't? Just read a. I'll just read a sentence.
It's got some difference. It's different, I should say.
Yeah, yet its range is a little more than the 38s, with less penetration and ricochet. I don't know who that was. That was almost like a mixture of Family Guy and
a lot of Quagmire in that
somebody
one.
else. Yeah, a little quag.
I love that. Less chance of ricochet. It's a serious problem.
When bullets are whizzing by, range officers report this load is easy to shoot in the large frame Smith & Wesson. What if you want range and penetration? Slip in some 41 Magnum rounds. They have the same reach as the 44 Magnum with 25% less recoil. Several cities, such as Amarillo, Texas, have already standardized this gun. It has been recommended for purchase in large cities throughout the country who are moving toward a switch. Ask your Smith & Wesson distributor for a look at the 41 M&P at law enforcement prices.
A lot of marketing towards law enforcement with this one.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately, though, and I think it definitely gained some steam, eventually died out.
The auto pistol killed it.
Now it is a heck of a hunting pistol cartridge.
Cult classic.
This guy, when he was born, he was destined to be a cop.
Undoubtedly.
In that era.
Yeah. He's got a leather wrap black cap on his belt.
Yep.
Mark, I'm seeing a lot of printouts. I think
Mark, there's too
I
many
think-
printouts.
I think
I
that
know.
what we can say about the 41 Remington Magnum is I know that there's people who are listening to this that have it, that are enthusiasts and users. I know they love this more than any other wheel gun cartridge they own.
I think they're right.
Yeah,
I
don't
think they're
there's any
correct to do that.
Problem
agree.
with that.
That was one of the things I was going to point out. As I looked, when we decided to do this, it might have even been a listener request, honestly. It probably was, because I don't know anything about this.
If you would have consulted the original lead balloon list, it would also have been on there. But
Interesting. I don't think that must have gotten in my spam folder. But I was like, why? It is, yes. But it shouldn't be, though.
agreed.
Like this is
Very
one,
much
like
agreed.
we talked about the 243 WSSM.
Yep. understandable.
Understandable. This one, not so much.
This is the Goldilocks concept.
This is another excerpt from this article. The 41 Remington Magnum had made believers out of many officers, but it didn't take over the LE market like Keith predicted. Sales of the 41 M&P tapered off, and Smith & Wesson discontinued the Model 58 in 1977.
Should have listened to Keith. I have to ask a point of clarification because in some of these they have mentioned, need a little more range or a little more knockdown power. Slip in a 41 Magnum. So there was a regular 41 Remington that would fire from the same firearm, presumably speaking.
Smith & Wesson.
41 Smith & Wesson?
Yes, I think that's correct.
What? So this is a 41 Rem Mag, and that. Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh wait,
what was the
Am
more
I completely
pedestrian,
mixed up here?
What was the more pedestrian version of what we're talking about that they're sort of seeming to reference?
Nope, I'm wrong. 41 Rem Mag. That's what we're talking about.
We are talking about 41 Rem Mag.
Yeah.
Were you talking about 41 Rem Mag?
Yes.
What are they referring to?
I think there's just two loadings.
41
so?
Special, Smith & Wesson Special,
Okay.
and 41 Remington Magnum. Where's the first ad?
This first ad did the same thing where it said that there was one load that had 2.5
41
times.
Smith & Wesson Special.
Okay. So you could shoot both of those calibers,
In the same pistol.
or excuse me, both of those cartridges in the same pistol.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That's all I'm trying to confirm.
Oh, okay.
So it was kind of like a 38 357 type thing.
Bingo.
Neat.
This is what I thought you would like, Jim, because I know you would. After this, you might actually just go try to buy this pistol. Smith & Wesson built a 41 mag version of the ultralight 329 44 with scandium frame and titanium cylinder for a few years too. It was a joy to carry, but physics dictated that most owners seldom shot them.
They put the orange handle on there so you could find it in the weeds after it went off.
It's not that bad if you just accept it.
I don't know, man.
Bring it back.
Nothing wrong with it.
If you told me I
like
needed to get a wheel gun, I'd take a hard look at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
The 41 Rem Mag, like you said, Ryan, we want to hear from you. Do you have one? Do you shoot it? Have you hunted with it?
I'd be hard-pressed to find a bad review.
I think you're correct. I mean, people say, like, it is the answer. Like, this was a different thing. What's this guy say? This guy says it was a different thing. He's talking about just all the attributes that we've talked about. Fantastic. The 41 Remington Magnum is the best revolver cartridge, period. I mean, that's his summary, right?
That's hard hitting.
And I'll say this, unlike like we were just talking about a previous lead balloon, you're not going to find those rifles in production. I went to Smith & Wesson's website. You can get yourself a 41 Rem Mag today.
Right now.
Love that.
So,
Buy now.
buy now. This ammo, it was available. It was out there
Yeah.
in the
Buy my
real
product.
live world. So, it's cool.
Okay.
There you
41
have
Rem
it.
Mag.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays. We'll catch you on the next one.
Just had to.